We take gravity for granted, don't we? It is the unseen hand that keeps our coffee in the mug and our feet on the floor. It is the silent contract that defines the world as we know it. But imagine a universe where the rules of physics are a cruel joke. What if gravity, the most fundamental force anchoring our existence, suddenly decided it needed a change of scenery every single day? Every 24 hours, the fundamental direction of the gravitational field completely resets. One day, gravity is normal, pulling us down toward the planet's core. The next day, it might pull us sideways toward London, or perhaps upward into the void of space, or maybe even at a bizarre 45-degree angle pointing southwest. This is not just a shifting magnitude of gravity, this is a wholesale, 180-degree directional chaos. Prepare yourself for the wildest thought experiment we have ever attempted. This is what would happen if the direction of gravity changed every single day. For this scenario to work, we must assume two things. First, the Earth itself somehow remains rotationally and orbitally stable despite its fundamental physics breaking down. Second, the gravitational acceleration remains roughly 9.8 meters per second squared, maintaining a consistent force, just delivered from an unpredictable angle. Let us start with the architecture, because before you even roll out of bed, the entire manufactured world would be annihilated. Modern infrastructure is built on the iron law of compression. Skyscrapers, bridges, dams, and homes are engineered to withstand colossal amounts of downward force. They are designed to compress vertically along a fixed axis pointing toward the center of the Earth. What they are spectacularly terrible at handling is lateral shear stress, especially if that stress is perpetual. Imagine waking up on day 2, where gravity is now pulling horizontally to the east. The foundation of your house, designed to support weight from above, now finds itself supporting the entire structure in a sideways tug-of-war. The stress on the anchor points and load-bearing walls would instantly convert into destructive shear force. A skyscraper in New York City would not tip over gracefully. It would rip itself apart at the base like tissue paper. Concrete and steel are strong in compression, but incredibly weak in tension and shear. Every structure on the planet would simultaneously fail, collapsing into rubble in the direction of the new gravity vector. Dams would shatter, bridges would twist and snap, and mountain highways would peel away from the rock face. The only safe havens would be deep subterranean tunnels or caves, where the surrounding rock provides continuous, equalized pressure from all sides, or perhaps the sturdiest ground-level bunkers designed for maximum rigidity. The architectural nightmare is only the beginning. The most dramatic and cataclysmic effects would be seen in Earth's fluid bodies, the oceans, and the atmosphere. On day 1, the oceans are placid, obeying the standard downward pull. On day 2, if gravity pulls sideways, the entire volume of every ocean basin would be pulled en masse toward the new gravitational sink. We are talking about instantaneous tidal forces of unfathomable magnitude. Imagine a wave front several miles high racing across the continental plate at terminal velocity, dwarfing any tsunami ever recorded. If the new gravity vector points upward, or even at a steep angle off-planet, the situation is terminal for liquid water. Since the gravitational pull remains 9.8 meters per second squared, it would overcome the atmospheric pressure holding the liquid on the surface. Oceans would begin to spill out into space, vaporizing rapidly as they encounter the near vacuum. Within a few days of upward gravity cycles, Earth would become a dry, cracked marble. The atmosphere would fare no better. The air we breathe is only held in place by the consistency of downward gravity. If the gravitational vector shifts sideways, the atmosphere would slosh violently around the planet, creating supersonic winds in the direction of the pull. If the vector shifts upward, the atmosphere itself escapes. The air pressure would drop rapidly to dangerous levels, causing catastrophic decompression. Life on the surface requires a stable, pressurized atmosphere. The moment the direction of gravity points skyward, our atmosphere begins its terminal bleed into space, leaving the surface exposed to vacuum and lethal radiation. Survival is fundamentally impossible on the surface within the first few cycles. Let us shift our focus inward. If you somehow survive the architectural collapse and the atmospheric venting, how would the human body respond to this perpetual cosmic disorientation? The human body is a spectacular machine of biological engineering, but it is built upon the assumption of constant gravity. We are vertically oriented beings. Our circulatory system, our skeletal structure, and especially our brain are dependent on the down being reliably down. The most immediate failure point is the circulatory system. Our heart and veins are constantly fighting against the downward pull of gravity to pump blood from the feet back up to the brain. We have built-in mechanisms like valves and pressure regulators to manage this vertical challenge. If gravity shifts 90 degrees, the entire system instantly goes haywire. If the pull is now horizontal, the blood pressure in your arteries would equalize rapidly along the horizontal axis. Depending on the new vector, you would either suffer immediate massive hydrostatic pressure in your limbs and internal organs, or a catastrophic drop in blood flow to the brain, resulting in blackout and eventual death. The body would simply lack the physiological adaptability to manage constant, radical shifts in blood distribution. Even if your body could somehow adjust to a sideways pull, the moment gravity shifts upward, the blood would drain entirely into the lower extremities or pull dangerously in the abdominal cavity, overwhelming the heart's ability to pump. Then there is the sensory chaos. We know where we are in space thanks to the vestibular system located in our inner ear. It contains tiny hair cells and fluid that register the direction of gravity and acceleration. This system is crucial for balance and spatial awareness. In our scenario, every morning, the fluid in your inner ear would slam against the wrong set of receptors. Your brain would receive a continuous, paralyzing signal that you are falling, spinning, or in perpetual free fall. The body would experience instantaneous, debilitating vertigo and nausea, making any coordinated movement impossible. It would feel like the most intense, permanent motion sickness imaginable, rendering humans helpless and unable to react to the physical dangers surrounding them. Finally, consider the skeletal system. Your bones and muscles are designed to bear weight along the vertical axis of the spine and legs. We have evolved incredible strength against compression. We are structurally weak against lateral shearing forces. If gravity pulls sideways, the tendons, ligaments, and joints would be stressed in ways they are not evolved to handle. Simply walking or even lying down would risk tearing muscles away from bones and dislocating joints. Imagine the shear force required to hold your head straight if gravity suddenly pulls it toward your left shoulder at 9.8 meters per second squared. The resulting fractures and soft tissue damage would be catastrophic, transforming every movement into an excruciating gamble. So, is there any hope for life in a world defined by rotational gravitational chaos? For terrestrial life, the answer is unequivocally no. The scale of the planetary and biological destruction is too immense. However, if life were to persist, it would have to adopt radical, almost alien strategies. The only viable environment would be deep underground, where the hydrostatic pressure of the surrounding rock would dampen the sudden shifts in external gravity. Any surviving civilization would be a subterranean one, likely living in pressurized, sealed complexes that provide artificial, fixed gravity through rotation or constant counterbalancing machinery. Biologically, organisms would need to abandon the rigid skeletal structure entirely. To survive constantly shifting stresses, life would need to become soft, malleable, and almost liquid. Think of giant amoebas or extremely segmented creatures with distributed internal organs that can survive massive internal pulling or vacuum exposure. They would essentially be living water sacs, lacking the structural weakness inherent in bones. This thought experiment beautifully illustrates the profound reliance we have on cosmic constancy. Gravity is not just a force that pulls us down. It is the fundamental definition of structure, life, and orientation. The daily reliability of gravity is the silent prerequisite for every single facet of our existence, from the way a bridge is engineered to the way blood is pumped through our veins. In a world where gravity shifts daily, the universe stops being a home and becomes a chaotic, constantly resetting torture chamber. It is a reminder that the stability of the cosmos is not just nice. It is the necessary condition for complex, structured life to emerge and thrive. Thank you for joining us on this mind-bending journey into physics gone rogue. What fundamental constant should we break next? Let us know in the comments below.